Go to Twitch. Go to Twitch. Go to YouTube. Go tell a friend. Go tell your lover. This magic moment when we go live on Twitch. Oh. Going live with the scar. Which what a schlub. What a schlub. Here, let me tell you our login and password while we're live on Twitch. It's not like I don't get any warnings all the time about our login and password. Oh, you know what I didn't do? That's right. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Francisco, that's fun to say. Did he tell them that he's the voice intro for popular podcasts across the internet? It's another AE episode where we discuss some movie films and a fan requested topic with 3 exclamation points. All right. And thanks to the 102 people following us and the 0 people watching us right now. We're live. Oh, we're live. We are live. Oh, hey, Rachel. How's it going? Rachel's here. Everybody, Rachel's here. Yeah. We're too drunk to watch you. Or just slept wherever your body's wound up. D Squeeze hitting us with a hosting action. Thank you, D Squeeze, for being here. Punker Bean dropping the teeth. They can't hear you. Oh. I know why. You know what this means? Brandon? Our pre-show is destroyed. Oh, I feel awful. Not yet.
Oh, no.
Now they can hear you.
Oh, no.
Oh, you know what I didn't do?
Oh, no.
Tell you what, guys, I've got some fantastic Edifier speakers that I use all the time when I'm sitting at my computer, but
that's fun.
If I leave that on, Brandon is not heard on the stream.
Wow.
But now you can hear him.
Wow. No wonder we only have a handful of folks watching us, because it's
a completely one-sided podcast anytime we stream.
Okay, let's rewind. I remember everything that we said before. The last time we saw Rachel
pre-show. Oh wait, no, that's the other one.
Last time we saw Rachel and Justin, they had gone out. They were too drunk, and I imagine they left right away and then had sex, or
passed out wherever their bodies fell.
Yeah, they went limp. They can't hear me. And we're kids.
Oh, we're gonna do that again. Oh, D Squeeze is hosting us. Yay, D Squeeze! Thanks for joining us. Punker Bean's here. He put a tooth. Siredark's here. There it is. Siredark can hear us.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll put it up here.
I'll still watch from Travis's perspective. What an avant-garde like podcast this would be if you could only hear me. And then there were like 4-minute stretches where we just listen to Brandon talk about a horror movie that I'm never gonna watch.
No, I think that would work, right? Because then it's a new modern version of Mad Libs, where instead of vocal, right, you say, okay, this is what Travis said. Fill in this blank area with a sentence, 5 to 6 seconds.
Fill in your idea of what you think Brandon's talking about, and then we'll go from there. Well, we're live. We have people here. I think it's probably time we start the show.
Lamest Groundhog Day loop ever. Yeah, no, that's right.
What? They can't hear you? Hold on. Let's start again.
All right. The last time we saw Rachel and Justin, they got really drunk.
Are you
in this chat?
Are you recording? Are you already recording?
Mm-mm.
Okay, good. Me neither. Cheers.
Cheers. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll start recording.
5, 4, 3, 2.
All right. Test.
Yep. That's how I test my microphone, guys. I say yep a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh, all right. Here we go. Are you ready? You ready to hit this up?
Let's do it.
Hell to the fuck yeah. Oops, wrong one.
Yeah.
You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Welcome to Apathetic Enthusiasm. In this episode, we're talking Borat movies and a Patreon pick.
Coming to you now.
Coming to you live from inside Interdimensional RSS's intro, where we do an intro like that on one episode, but we don't do it on this one. This is Apathetic Enthusiasm, the unofficial Apathetic Enthusiasm podcast.
That is right. I want to say thank you to everyone for listening, and until next time, I'm Brandon,
and I'm Travis.
And we'll see you later.
We're in rare form tonight, Brandon. Rare form.
Yeah. I really like my background right now because I'm dead in the middle of Borat's mustache.
Yeah, you're completely you in tonight's episode, Borat's nose will be played by Brandon Cruz.
My wife I tried like the shittiest Borat impression. Okay,
nailed it.
Let's go ahead and get some of the social media stuff out of the way. I don't have anything in front of me, so I'm gonna.
You know what? You want me to do it? I could do it. Okay. All right. Well, guys, thank you for listening. If you want to follow us online, figure out what we're doing between episodes, you can follow us on Twitter at Apathusiast. I'm at Joe Gomino. He's at Barnyard Cruise. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm Show, or send us an email with your comments and questions, concerns, things you love and you don't like, apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com. We have an Instagram, apathetic_enthusiasm, and then you can find this podcast as well as all of our other podcasts over at apatheticenthusiasm.com. Right now, we are hanging out with our best friends in the whole world over on Twitch at twitch.tv/apatheticenthusiasm, or over at YouTube, youtube.com/apatheticenthusiasm. If you want to be one of our best friends in the whole world, then you can join us Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern and be part of the fun, be part of the party as we live stream these directly into your eye holes. And then finally, there is a way that you can buy our love by going over to apatheticenthusiasm.com/shop. Buy a t-shirt with our face on it. Buy one with Rick and Morty's face on it. It all goes to the same place. Or go to patreon.com/apatheticenthusiasm, the virtual tip jar where you can throw a little bit of money in there and get some perks, to include pre-shows where we do video pre-shows prior to our live streams. At the right tier, you can also pick a topic for a future episode of Apathetic Enthusiasm, like we are doing tonight. This one coming from our man Sire Dark. Hey, joining us live right now. And we will be getting to that a little bit later in the show. And then here's our personal phone numbers in case you just want to call us. Oh wait, I don't
you
have
can
those.
you can dial me at 1-900 976 Evil.
86753.
That's right, 976 Evil, the movie starring Robert Englund, the horror film. I don't know if I've actually seen 976 Evil. I know you have, Travis. I know that if you were to pick a horror film, it probably would have been 976 Evil.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Hey, you know what was weird to me is last night after a day of gridiron competition, American football on CBS, followed immediately by the hard-hitting news magazine program 60 Minutes, and then the CBS Sunday night movie Scream. That they showed Scream on CBS.
After 60 Minutes?
Which like it. I almost want to just watch Scream on CBS to see how much they had to edit it or tailor it to like be able to show it on network television, or just how much our society has sort of slid to a point where a movie that was edgy and a horror film, what was that? Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, 96 or so.
Now is like network television, Sunday night family movie.
When Matthew Lillard says, "I'll be right back," and then it goes straight to a commercial for the Silver Bullet or whatever late night infomercials. Do they do They do infomercials still.
Yeah,
but
they got to, right?
It was that one guy in like he always looked like he should be the Riddler, but he was talking about like how to buy homes or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, that guy that he had like all the money, like the dollar signs all over him, and he'd like be in front of like Congress or something and be like, "Hey, get my book on how to make money." Woohoo!
Yeah. As I take over Gotham is always a line that he should have said, but he never did.
It's always in there. It's you have the riddles in the back about the big bat. I don't know.
The riddle. If we want to talk about, if we want to really break down Batman, there's a lot of folks I saw this on Twitter earlier today. It talked about people talking shit about Batman and putting away the myth that Batman could be anybody based off of preparation, right? That's the big thing. Like if Batman's prepared, he could beat everybody. And they refer to Tower of Babel, that storyline where basically he took out all the superheroes because he planned for them and because he's paranoid, whatever. But everyone's like, it's because he's rich. Now, if we're take that infomercial guy with all the money symbols on his shirt, that should have been the Riddler. It is really kind of a good way a good story to take out that whole the social commentary on Batman's wealth and really what his true weakness is. And I think actually in the comics right now there's a storyline where he's lost all his money to Lucius Fox, and so on and so forth. But that is on our next podcast.
That is for another episode. Although we always refer to Batman as the world's greatest detective, and it's his ability to solve crimes and his intuition that goes beyond just the gadgets and batarangs and things
and that's how he maintains his wealth, through his natural intuition for the stock market, because he knows what blue chip stocks to purchase and win.
And certainly not by just inheriting a fortune from his dead parents who he saw murdered in front of him. Anyway, guys, let's talk about Borat.
You got to kill somebody to make some money. That's what I've always said about that.
Gotta kill money to make money. That's what they always say. All right, guys. So our first topic of the evening is Borat, subsequent movie film. This movie came out last Friday. It's an Amazon original. It is getting a lot of attention in the news because of some of the outlandish things that are in there. Obviously, Sasha Baron Cohen is the star of this film, creator of Borat, as well as Ali G and Bruno and all sorts of other characters. you saw the original Borat, right? Like, I mean, I don't know anybody that didn't see the original Borat when it first came out. It felt like a huge, like, epic movie. So I was a little surprised that this one was like a direct to consumer Amazon Prime deal. I'm wondering if that was like a concession to, or they just wanted to get this out to as many as people as possible right before an election.
Yeah, I mean, good, possibly. I look, they must have started filming this really at the start of the at COVID, right? They couldn't have started much sooner than that, which means distribution and trying to get it out there to as many folks. Movie theaters had already shut down. They must not they weren't complete with filming before the movie theaters had gone under. I mean, they may as well be going under, but so distribution wise, they probably just wanted to get to as many folks as they could without worrying about theaters at the time.
Yeah.
Without looking up any interviews with Sasha Baron Cohen, that's just kind of what my assumption is. But yeah, no, I of course saw the original Borat when Ali G came out. Booyakasha. I think I got into it mid second season of the show on HBO, and it was such a hilarious show to me, of taking the piss, as they say in another country, of politicians and folks in power, and I was so impressed by just the balls on this guy to be doing that to folks and to stay in character for a lot of it. Ali G was great. The Ali G movie, it was much more of a scripted thing, and so it wasn't as successful to me. Bruno came out, that was okay. But the thing that was in the Ali G show that always cracked me up, just because of how glaringly obvious it paints kind of bigotry and emphasizes kind of some of our darker tendencies, was Borat, because his naive innocence lets people show themselves off, right? Whether or not they truly feel that way, or just let themselves be kind of swayed by that.
Yeah. I think there are times when people are like allowed to express an opinion or something that they may not necessarily fully, believe, but they're like, well, in this space, and often if they are aware of cameras and things like that, people act weird in front of cameras. We're great examples of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that first Borat movie especially was like, it was shocking to see some of the things that people did, with Borat, and some of the ways that he was able to, I guess, expose people for sort of their own personal biases and the way that they felt about the world. I saw an interesting little clip on like Facebook the other day of Sasha Baron Cohen as himself giving a speech about his characters and the movies that he makes, and he talked about
the Anti-Defamation League thing, right?
I think so. Yeah, it was a really, like, the clip I saw was a really tight shot on his face, so I think they were trying to hide anywhere like where he was, or like he was in front of a screen giving a speech. But he was talking about how he likes to create these characters and these environments to sort of allow people to be their true selves, or to show their prejudices or their their personal biases. And it's a lot of gotcha type stuff, but it also sometimes shines a light on the reality, as absurd as these movies can be, the reality of how some people feel and how certain demographics still feel about the world. So we both watched this movie over the weekend separately. I don't know that we really talked about it too much ahead of time. The last presidential debate aired Thursday night, And
Right.
they actually, instead of releasing the movie on Friday as scheduled, they released it a little bit early during the presidential debates on Thursday. So if you didn't want to watch, you know, somebody running around like crazy and getting in a bunch of fights, you could watch Borat instead of the debates. So yeah. Anyway, that didn't land the way I was hoping it would.
Yeah, we finished off the debates, and then I was like, okay, cool. I don't want to watch all these talking heads, make up
Hey, we're here with the fact checks to fact check the fact checkers on the fact checker.
random stuff that I'm like, what? What are you even talking about with that? So I told Chelsea, all right, time to watch some Borat. She was already falling asleep, so we
She's like,
watched.
Yakamish.
She's like, you want to watch this right now? So we started watching just a little bit. We got about through 15, 20 minutes of it, and then we finished it up the next day. And by the time I started watching it, you had already finished it up.
Yeah, I watched it the next day. I watched it on Friday afternoon, and I just kind of watched it all the way through. I got home, and just watched it like the kids were watching some Disney movie or something. I'm like, I'm gonna go watch Borat, and I just watched through it, and yeah. So you started it before me, but then finished it after me, and like the last probably 20, 30 minutes of the movie has some moments that really just make me unsettled in terms of the state of humanity. And you were like, "Oh, I'm just getting to this part," and I was like, "Ugh, dark times ahead, friend."
Dark times. Yeah. Well, so what jumps out about you to this movie, right? Because he calls attention to this is a sequel, subsequent movie film, and that everybody recognizes him. And how much of that do you think plays into the types of reactions that he gets throughout the film?
I think that there are obviously, and they use it in the film, right, where he's getting recognized and people are like Borat and my wife, all this stuff, and he's like, oh, I have to wear a disguise. And so this is a great, sort of ham-fisted way of explaining why Borat is in all these different disguises and dressed up as different characters. Obviously, he's well known for the character, so there are certain situations where he can't go showing up as Borat, or they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, this isn't real. This isn't a real interview or whatever it is. So that made sense. I like the way that he did that, and I thought it was interesting how he chose to play some of those characters as Borat playing those characters. Like, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I thought it was also pretty smart to bring in the idea of having a daughter, like a 15-year-old daughter, who could then be utilized in certain situations to play the hidden person or whatever, and completely remove him from the scene in order to get certain reactions or get different perspectives. So I don't know. I thought that worked well. It didn't have the same sort of like, it didn't feel as much like a Borat movie all the time, because while he did go into certain places as Borat, he was also playing a lot of other characters throughout the movie.
Yeah, the thing that I want to talk about his daughter, Maria Bakalova, who plays his daughter separately. On as far as the Borat persona goes, I don't know how anybody in 2020 could not have at least heard of him, or see through what seem like very minimal disguises. And I was talking to Chelsea about this as we're watching the film, and I think what I ended up deciding was okay, if you see Sasha Baron Cohen, you may not know who he is. You might see Borat and recognize who he is. That's fine. Yeah, and some of those disguises, yeah, they're not great, and he's doing the Borat voice, but they're doing it in like small towns and small areas. And when you're in a small town, you're barely expecting anybody famous to ever come through there anyway. And so if you're not expecting anybody famous to come through your small town, and then somebody is dressed up as somebody else, and it they seem weird, they seem off, then you're almost kind of like uh, you you find the rationale to be like, this is kind of weird, but I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah,
For
especially if that person has somebody with a camera running up behind them and filming every interaction as well.
Yeah.
That could be a thing as well. What did you think about the story, if you will, of the film? I the basic premise is Borat is shamed for making the last movie and is like imprisoned, but the country of Kazakhstan wants to reinstate their footing on the world stage, so they are sending Borat back to give a gift to one of the leaders in the United States. And then this kind of develops into this whole, he's supposed to like deliver a chimpanzee or something that's like the biggest movie star in Kazakhstan or whatever, and then he ends up, that doesn't work out, and his daughter ends up there instead, and he needs to give his daughter as a gift. What did you think about this, very relatively loose premise for the movie?
Well, you need a loose premise for the film in order to give it some kind of narrative consistency or through line. If it was just a bunch of disparate scenes of meeting people and talking to people, then it's an episode of the Ali G show,
Yeah.
which I'm fine with.
You're like, I mean,
I'm
I'm still gonna watch it.
totally fine with it. Or what was a show that he had on HBO just for like 5 episodes? Whatever America goes across America. It was last year. It came out.
Yeah,
last year.
I didn't see it. I didn't see a single episode of it. Somebody in the chat help us out.
I'm pretty sure you did. But at any rate, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, and the folks on Twitter that say like any kind of heartwarming aspect to it, like that's, for me actually, I'll say that I enjoyed that piece of the movie more than I enjoyed the gotchas with folks and
Yeah.
in the cringe humor. I want to. I mean, before I say what I want to say, what you think of that?
There were moments when I was like, this feels a little bit like they're trying to do Borat, right? Like, I don't know. There were times where it didn't feel, and maybe because the original movie came out almost 15 years ago, and it doesn't feel fresh, I guess. So there are times when I was just like, all right, yeah, he's buying a cage for his daughter. Like, but I don't know. It was some of that stuff I was like, it's all right. But overall, I felt like there were especially some moments towards the end where they kind of tied things together and spun the story with a few spoilerific twists that I felt like, oh, okay, that was pretty good how they did that. I thought that was interesting, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The part that I saw this in the news when it happened was when he when he tried to recreate the scene from the movie, the when he did a song at the Trump convention or whatever it was. Like he tried to redo the throw the Jews down the well from the first Borat film, but at this convention with people singing along and stuff like that. And I saw that when it happened on the news because Fox News reported it, CNN reported it, with Sasha Baron Cohen. He's filming something and he was dressed up in a funny way and etc. As I was watching that, I was thinking it's not the same. It's just not the same as the first film. And I want to bring up the throw the Jews down the well bit, because to me, before he was really, really well known, he did that scene at a bar in Tucson, and people didn't know who Borat was yet, and to me that scene was like people didn't know who that was, and they were singing along, and they were like they were cracking up at it. So he did an interview, and I have a couple of quotes on about the criticism of him doing that song. And so he said, Borat essentially works as a tool by being himself, being anti-Semitic. He lets people lower their guard and expose their own prejudices, whether it's anti-Semitism or an acceptance of anti-Semitism. Throw the Jew down the well was a very controversial sketch, and some members of the Jewish community thought it was actually going to encourage anti-Semitism. But to me, it revealed something about that bar in Tucson. And the question is, did it reveal that they were anti-Semitic? Perhaps. But maybe it just revealed that they were indifferent to anti-Semitism. And then so he said the concept of that, the indifference, came from his study of the Holocaust while at Cambridge. And he says, I remember when I was in university and there was this one major historian of the Third Reich, Ian Kershaw, and his quote was, "The path to Auschwitz was paved with indifference." And so it's not funny being a comedian talking about the Holocaust, but it's an interesting idea that not everyone in Germany had to be a raving anti-Semite. They just had to be apathetic. Oh, enthusiasm. Ah.
Oh, he tied it all back around.
Oh, God.
But I think that is a very great point to make in terms of especially the political season that we're in right now, and everybody has a lot of opinions that they're sharing on whether you're for the left or the right, if you're on Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is. There's a lot of opinions going out there, and it's very easy for people to sort of be super passionate about whatever side that they're on, or grow kind of numb to everything that's happening, and they either want to be apolitical or they want to stay out of it. They don't want to. They just want to do their thing, and then certain things start to sort of bubble up to the surface, like they did this year, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, where do I stand? How can I, stand up for, what I feel is right? And sometimes it takes having things exposed for you to realize that, oh, wow, I didn't realize that I had these biases, or maybe I didn't realize that I was so indifferent to what is actually happening around me, because it doesn't affect me on the day-to-day. It doesn't, I'm going to work, I'm doing my thing, I'm going to school, whatever it is. And then it's kind of presented in your face, and it kind of makes you think about it a little bit more.
Yeah. And I think that comedy where it's highlighting the indifference was different in the original Borat, because people weren't expecting it, and it's not a type of comedy that they're expecting, and so they were caught off guard by being sucked into indifference. For this one, I feel like they were less gotchas, and they were it had to be like the scene at not the recital, the debutante's ball.
Yeah.
Like, they had to go all out, and they couldn't have that visceral reaction as much as they did in the original film. But I will say that Maria Bakalova she was so great. Which the couple of scenes where she was in character interacting with folks, she did so well, not breaking and just staying in character. The Republicans women.
That small gathering at the Marriott or whatever it was.
Yeah. Just so she's so impressive. I was thrilled by her more than Borat, which you needed to have somebody who wasn't Sasha Baron Cohen to be in the role to get some of those types of scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which
Overall, like, I don't know if you want to rate this movie. Would you recommend this movie to people?
Yeah, if you like Borat, I guess you'd like it. I don't know if it's something you have to rush out to see, unless you want to see the stuff with Rudy Giuliani, which we didn't talk about.
No, we didn't. And I guess that could be the last sort of thing to talk about. It was the last major scene in the film. It's obviously the biggest name that they sort of pull a prank on. It's getting news coverage, right? Because there's a scene where Rudy Giuliani is adjusting himself, and he, according to him, he was just tucking in his shirt. If you watch the movie, you can make your own assessment for what he was doing. But that is, he's in a room alone with the co-star of the film. And yeah, like, I don't know, what did you think about that, watching that?
I thought, and full disclosure, I am no America's Mayor fan of Rudy Giuliani. I think he's garbage, and I think he pushes garbage. Saying that,
Cheers to our sanitation workers, by the way. I'm thankful for them.
To a certain extent, I felt like he's been in more garbage positions and he's done more garbage things than being led on into a room. It felt kind of entrapment-y.
That is exactly the word that I thought about too. Is I was that was
hand,
not a great situation for him. Period.
Yeah, hand on the knee over and over again. Like I know that's the part that was playing, and like the drinking and the flirting and all that type of stuff, and her taking him into the bedroom. It's I'm like, yeah, that it's a very, very difficult line to tread. Where I'm like, I don't like him, but that could have been way worse than it was, and
Yeah.
I don't. With all the things that I know he's done wrong, that doesn't feel like the worst of it. If that makes sense.
It totally makes sense, and I see where you're coming from. The other part of this is with the huge focus on trying to expose certain groups, and this movie definitely has a bias against conservatives and Republicans and the current administration. I feel like there definitely is no mistake that this came out like 10 days before the presidential election. Do you think that the filmmakers thought they're going to in some way be able to impact an election where millions of people have already voted by releasing this a week in advance? Like, are there some undecideds that were like watching Borat and being like, well, now I know who I'm gonna vote for?
I saw this statistic, and I sent it to you in chat. The statistic being the amount of early voting that happened in states, Florida, Michigan, and one other state, in 2016 and now. From young voters like 18 to 24 or something like that. And it went from 24,000 here in Florida to 160,000 or something like that. It was just exorbitant. So whether or not they thought they were going to get people undecideds to vote one way or the other, the 10, 20 days before an election, I don't.
And maybe it'll get a handful of people out to the polls to vote who may have been like apathetic about it before. I don't know. Maybe I've read something yesterday, I think, that more people have voted early up to this point than like 10 days before the election than all of the people that did early voting in the 2016 election. So
Heyo.
with like a week and a half to go, we've already well eclipsed that previous number. And in our final, rock the vote segment for this show, if you are in the United States and you have not voted already, and you are of legal age and are, make sure you register and vote and go do your part. Go have your say out there, and then maybe watch Borat for some interesting humor. Any final thoughts on this one, Brandon, before we move on to our Patreon pick?
Yes, the last thought that I have on this topic, on this movie, mentioning on the politics of Borat, in 2006 when Borat came out, it wasn't overtly political, because all this stuff was just spotlighting some indifference and these cultural things that Sasha and Cohen wanted to get after. Well, inherently 2020 is anything you're going to do is political, especially his, and so it becomes way more overt.
Yeah.
And so it's a different climate now than it was back then. Anyways, that's all I had to say on that. That's the last thing I had to say on that. Let's go into what we like to call a segue. Segue.
Yeah. You remember segways, like the things you would ride on?
Mm-hmm. Exploded in your luggage. Those are hoverboards.
Hoverboards.
You can't take them on.
You can't take those hoverboards anywhere. Can't take them anywhere. I remember when everybody thought segways were going to be like the future, and we're going to become like the lazy people in Wreck-It Ralph, or not Wreck-It Ralph. In what's that movie? Wall-E. Because we're all going to ride around on our segways. Anyway, we're going to talk about B-Stars.
B-Star.
This is our Patreon pick of the month, and this one was recommended by Sire Dark, longtime supporter of the show, an all-around great guy who is joining us right now in the chat. So you can beat us up as we talk about your pick. But I'm gonna read the Wikipedia entry here. B-Stars is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Paru Itagaki. Yeah, that's as close as I'm going to get it. And look at you with the graphic change, Brandon. An anime television series adaptation by Orange aired from October to December 2019 on Fuji TV's Plus Ultra programming block. A second season is scheduled to premiere in January 2021. The anime is licensed by Netflix for North America, which is, of course, where we watched it. I will say up front, neither of us watched the entire first season. Sorry, Sire Dark, in advance. Right. I think how many episodes did you get in, Brandon?
You watch more episodes than me. Not because I didn't want to watch more.
Because you don't care as much. That's why, Brandon.
No, because the we'll get into this more. It's because the music and Japanese voices, like they lull me to sleep. And right. I was drinking lots of vodka tonics last night and watching it.
Refreshing summer beverage as it was snowing here. All right, Brandon, before we get into B-Stars proper, I think it is only right that we have a short discussion about the genre of anime. What does Jerry say in that episode? Anyway, let's. You big anime fan, buddy?
I do not watch a lot of anime. No. I or I don't read lots of manga. I think the last manga I've read was All You Need Is Kill, which is the book version of Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. Which great story, far different from the movie. We'll talk about that different episode of Apathetic Enthusiasm. Other than that, no, I don't watch a lot of anime. I catch up every once in a while with Dragon Ball Z. in its offshoots with my younger brother Brett. He tells me about Full Metal Alchemist and other anime shows. I think I watched a couple episodes of the Castlevania anime that's on Netflix as well. And then I skipped to the very, very end because I just wanted to see how Dracula died. But other than that, no, I'm not a big anime guy. I don't know why, because the art is fantastic, and we'll talk about it with Beastars too. It doesn't really click to me for some reason.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think like I would catch certain like anime type stuff on Adult Swim. You get into what is it, the Toonami
Yeah.
segments and things like that. You mentioned Full Metal Alchemist. I caught some of that. Anime light, watching a little bit of Last Airbender on Nickelodeon from way back when. One Punch Man, I started watching some of that, mostly because he looks like me. But I have a lot of people that I work with who are huge anime fans, and they're usually talking about different shows or things like that. So then they suggest certain things, and I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Obviously, like the Studio Ghibli like movies, Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, a lot of those movies I've watched. But in general, I don't tend to gravitate toward this genre. And so, yeah, this was something when you're like, all right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do Sire Dark's topic. I had done zero research into what his topic was. So you're like, all right, the show's Beastars. It's on Netflix. Check it out.
I said no Rick and Morty this week. We're gonna push that another week so we can get this topic out. So we can hook up Sire Dark.
Yeah, and so immediately I like type it into my Netflix search bar, and I was like, oh, this is what we're watching. Okay, all right, here we go. And then like the first. Obviously like you get the like title cards and you get like a little bit of artwork and you can see these anthropomorphic animal characters. And then the first episode opens up and you get the like TVMA warning for nudity and smoking. And I thought, oh God. What? Sire Dark, what did you get us into?
Oh no. So for those who are listening and for those who are watching, Beastars is essentially, it takes place in a world where there are anthropomorphic animals who are going to a school, and there's carnivores and herbivores. So there's a wolf, there's rabbits, there's deer and stuff like that. And the show opens up with a murder of an herbivore in the theater department by a carnivore, and you don't know who it is. Well, it may be a carnivore. Ooh.
Shadowy carnivore figure.
Mystery.
You carnivores are all monsters or whatever. Yeah, and so then the story unfolds a little bit more. You learn more about this theater department, and sort of these different characters who are part, like theater is very central to this storyline, but it tends to focus the show mostly on a wolf character named Legoshi. How do they pronounce it in the version you're watching?
Legoshi.
Okay, all right. So he's a carnivore who is wrestling with all of these feelings of his sort of animal instincts while also trying to fit into this society. And so there's a lot of things we could talk about. We could talk about the storyline itself, but I sort of want to, peel back some layers here and dig into some of the things that you've already mentioned. One of those being art style. Because what was it?
Let's do it. Art style. Let's talk about art style.
It's time for art styles. This show.
That's the most exciting you've ever sounded on this for an intro. Whether it's Rick and Morty,
Art style.
Rick and Interdimensional RSS, or this show, the most excited you've been. Maybe actually, maybe the last time you were this excited is when we talked about Helvetica. Like,
Oh,
3 years ago.
oh, you don't. We can't jeopardize this segment by bringing up typefaces, Brandon. We don't want to do that. This show is gorgeous. I really, I guess that's something that I usually feel like when I see stuff like in anime is the art style is usually pretty outstanding. I never seem to have a problem with that. I feel like so much of this show you could like capture a still and it would be like it would almost look like a nice painting or illustration. Obviously this coming from the comic book world, the mangas, you can kind of sense some of that, like in how different shots or scenes are drawn with some really intense angles and things like that, or just some of the ways that they leverage the medium that they're using. What stood out to you, Brandon?
There are a few scenes that really stand out to me. Where one is where the rabbit character, I forget what her name is, she's watering her plants.
Haru?
Haru, yeah. And
I got the Wikipedia open.
I do too, but I couldn't scroll fast enough. She's watering her plants, and so there's a couple flowers, and I noticed on the like it's like concrete, and then the flower bed on the other side, and the concrete had water spilled on the side of it, and I was like, oh, I really like the way that looks. It looks really, really cool. And then she got knocked over or something, and some more water spilled onto the concrete, and it looked equally as good. And I don't know how to explain that other than to be like it. I was impressed by what would normally, like in older cartoons where you have the background and something is going to move because it's colored slightly differently.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas this is like the watermark on the concrete was one way, then more water spilled on it, and then it looked the same way as the other watermark. And that's just a very simplistic way of being like, I was impressed by the small things that added up. When she was feeling the wolf's pelvic hair, I other than being little creeped out by that, I was like, damn, those textures are really good. Look at that wolf pube texture.
Yes. The use. Yeah, I don't feel like it went that far, but okay, Brandon, you were tired, so however you visualized it. It
was like pre-pube. It was like pre-pube fox hair.
It was that soft underbelly fur that all wolves have. Sire Dark mentions this in the comments, but this show does use 3D elements. There is some 3D animation in it. There are times when you can really tell that the characters themselves are animated in 3D. There are also like sort of just the way certain things move. He mentions that was pretty controversial leading up to the release of this show because that is not commonly done well in anime, but apparently gets a pass here because they kind of nail it. I really didn't have any issues, and I feel like the art style itself was really good. And in every episode I've seen, that's something where I feel like that stands out to me, not just in this anime, but in a lot of the genre where I'm like, yeah, the style itself is really good. The part that I get hung up in on a lot of, we talk about Dragon Ball or things like that. Sometimes the fight sequences and things like that, the pacing that is common in a lot of anime is sometimes more drawn out and like.
And I looked at it. I think to myself, dodge quickly, and I dodge, and then it's a that type of stuff.
Yeah, that stuff. That's the stuff.
Where it's like there's a punch or whatever kind of move, but then there's almost kind of like in like Scott Pilgrim where he's like having a monologue. He's like, "Is this happening?" type of stuff.
Yes.
There's supposed to be fast paced action, but there's like monologues happening.
I haven't seen a whole lot of that. There is a lot of internal dialogue in this where you have a character that's talking and then they're thinking about something and it's kind of bouncing back and forth and you get a lot of that. Oh, here's what they're thinking about. That's not bothering me too much in this show, but speaking of dialogue, as we were doing the pre-show and getting ready for this episode, you mentioned the fact that it was hard for you to stay awake because of the Japanese audio, and I said you didn't watch the dubbed version, and you responded in some sort of crass and demeaning tone, like you're not some loser American watching the dub version. So
Yeah.
2 questions I have. One is for Sire Dark. What version are you watching? Are you watching the original, Japanese version? And am I a horrible person for watching the English version? I made I didn't make a conscious decision when I started it. When I started it, it was already on the English dub, according to my Netflix account. But it also had English subtitles on it. And it was bizarre to me because the English subtitles were not doing subtitles for the English dub. They were doing English subtitles for the Japanese version. So they weren't saying exactly what was being said on screen, which I thought was bizarre in the first place. But I decided to stick with English. That way I wasn't fighting against a language barrier as well. I mean, I watch a lot of things with subtitles anyway, but I was like, I'm just going to do the dub version and deal with the nerd rage that might be coming my way if I'm doing this completely wrong.
Sire has responded to you and says this is one instance where the US dub is the recommended version. The voice actors nailed it. Yeah, I gave you shit for the dub, but for example, Dragon Ball Z, I know some folks who prefer the Japanese original, but I prefer the English dub as far as those voice actors are concerned. Like Goku's voice in the Japanese version is screechy and annoying, and I dislike it. But that's also because I grew up with Toonami, with it being on in the afternoons and watching that. Okay, so I watched it in the original language, and I think I did that for a few different reasons. One, to make sure I was paying attention to it, because I wanted to make sure I paid attention to it, and if there's English on, I have subtitles on for everything anyway, but if there's English on, that kind of gives me license to not pay attention to the show, because I'm like, oh, I can hear what's going on, and I'm not necessarily paying attention to the visuals. But if there's Japanese on and I don't understand Japanese natively, well, I got to watch it so I can see what
you got to lock in, or you're gonna miss something. Yeah.
But the side effect of that is if I was already super tired, their voices are just so calming, and it's like listening to a meditation tape. just a and like
And then Brandon's like,
anyway. Travis, what overall, what do you think about the show? Honestly, is it something you're gonna finish off like that Rabbit with a Wolf, or is it something that you're like, I'm glad I experienced a couple episodes of it.
all right, we're gonna take the gloves off here, okay? And at the risk of insulting one of our biggest supporters and fans, I will say so far I don't hate the show. It is interesting. I felt like I could watch a couple episodes and get the idea and BS my way through this segment, and I didn't. I kept watching. I think I'm into the 5th episode now. But there are a lot of things that I'm having to like wrestle with. One of those things being the hard Zootopia vibes that I've gotten the entire time, where
like adult Zootopia.
It's very much feels like an adult Zootopia, all the, like down to the struggle between carnivores and herbivores, and how carnivores have to live in this society where they're almost muzzled and can't be themselves, because in order to conform to this society, you can't show your teeth, you can't show who you really are. And like, I'm just waiting for Shakira to come out as a llama and like, and like, so that part of it, I'm like, okay, I feel like I know this story a little bit, but obviously this takes it into like a deeper area, a much more adult sort of perspective on it, a little bit more violent. And so that's interesting. And then there's this aspect with the animals or characters themselves that I'm still like not sure how I feel about it, because I've never been accused of being a furry. I'm like not into that. But there's this weird like, do I think of the species as like a racial metaphor? Is it a cultural thing? Because you've got all sorts of animals hooking up with different types of animals, and the biology part of Travis's brain is like, that shouldn't work. So there's a little bit of like suspended.
I understand that this wolf can operate a spotlight.
Yeah, I understand he can work in the art department. Hooking up with a rabbit, not sure that's going to work out.
Little too much for me. A bridge too far, if you will.
The rabbit having matching undergarments, I don't know if that. Anyway, so that part is kind of just like confusing to me, but at the same time, like they kind of make it work in terms of, people seeing past the different species and really just kind of drawing that line between herbivores and carnivores. But then also how like physical stature doesn't necessarily equate to, personal, confidence or things like that. So you have this hulking wolf man guy who is more or less a rather like timid and conflicted individual, who is constantly wrestling with, that instinct. Yeah, I see you got the background, Brandon. You came prepared.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about the show itself and some of the themes and topics, and is it something you would continue to watch?
Well, full disclosure, I probably will not watch any more of it. Not because I'm not interested in it, but because I have the Wikipedia in front of me, and I'm just gonna read through the plot. And once I do that, then I don't actually need to watch any more of the
Welcome
show.
to How Brandon Consumes Media, a masterclass.
Masterclass. I might skip to the season finale, but I'm interested in it. We already talked about the Zootopia, the adult Zootopia feel of it, including the sex piece. It's not as Zootopia because it's not a cops and robber story, although there is a murder at the very, very start of it, as we mentioned before. It takes place in a school around a drama department, which, that I know there's a part of that speaks to you as it does to me. Just look at these animals. Look at these animals trying to be actors and stuff like that. Talking to the bit with a confidence, like the main actor who is a year older than everybody else is an antelope or whatever, and he exudes confidence, and everybody's afraid of him, even though he's an herbivore, and he just treats everyone like shit just because he doesn't have to be a carnivore to have power.
Right.
So I think that is an interesting dynamic that I'm sure into the entire season 1 it explores more of that. And there's going to be a season 2. I'm interested to see how that turns out. But overall, I think it's a great concept. And thank you for the recommendation, Mr. Sire.
Yes, he asked if either of us have gotten to, quote, the black market. I'm further along than Brandon is, and no, I have not seen that. So, I feel like this show is walking a very fine line with me, and I could continue to watch it, but if it tips too far in one direction, I'm checking out, and I'm also clearing it out of my Netflix history, just so that if my kids are scrolling, they're not like, oh, let's watch the bunny cartoon Dad's been watching.
Look, kids, you have your choice of bunny cartoon. It's Beastars or Watership Down. You get to pick.
It's your choice.
You one way or the other, you're leaving this room scarred.
Yeah. Yes, as Brandon said, thank you, Sire Dark, for the recommendation. And if you have now that you know our perspective on anime, if you or anyone else has a suggestion on something that may be more our speed or a good I don't know, gateway series for us to continue to explore the world of anime, hit us up, apatheticenthusiasm.com. You can send us a hey, shush, I'm not talking to you.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Hit us up. Let us know. Thank you for the recommendation. If I finish the series, I will let you know, Sire Dark. That is our episode. This is the show.
And I do want to say one more thing as far as the Patreon content goes. Sire Dark's original recommendation was for us to talk about Katamari Damacy, and then he changed it. He's like, oh no, I want you guys to talk about Beastars. So I just want to say, sorry I didn't get to talk about a game where you pick up trash and a ball.
Roll a giant ball and suck everything up.
Yeah. Basically that is what apathetic enthusiasm is. It's just it starts off as a small ball, and then we pack a bunch of shit
rolling, and we just keep grabbing stuff. There's
no form or function about it, but by the end of it, it's just a big wad. And speaking of a big wad, I do have one last topic that we are.
Oh, I forgot about this topic. I forgot about it.
Yeah. We at the start of all this pandemic stuff, we talked about Zoom
5 years ago in the spring of 2020.
We talked about Zoom. What I want to talk about is something that I've been doing lately, which is watching like live reads and live script reads or small, more intimate events with stars. I wanted this to lead into Beastars because it was talking about stars, but that segue's gone. I'll just talk about this.
Yeah, I ruined it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. A couple weeks back, I'll say a month ago, Chelsea surprised me with, she's like, I RSVP'd us for an event tonight. I was like, oh. And at first I was like, oh, what is it? What is she signing me up for? Like, she's doing it for me, but what is it? Which I apologize for. I'm a dick for thinking that initially. She's probably outside the door being like, I hate you and want to slash your throat.
That, what'd be great is if your wife listened outside your door instead of tuning in live to Twitch or YouTube to figure out what you're talking about.
No, that door is actually open, and she's just always like just sharpening a knife. You can't, you can't use it. But what it was there was a night with Thomas Lennon. Thomas Lennon, who was with the state originally. He went on for Viva Variety, Lieutenant Dangle on Reno 911. He's written a bunch of other things with his frequent collaborator Robert Ben Garant, also from the state. Wrote the Herbie movie with Lindsay Lohan, Night at the Museum, and now he's writing some other. He's written a series of books, children's books. Anyway, Thomas Lennon. So it was like a Zoom thing with like 50 people in this Zoom call, and he was just talking about his history and screenwriting and stuff like that. And it was so cool because there was only a handful of us. And this last weekend, David Wayne, a bunch of folks from the state, and the people who made Wet Hot American Summer, they got together for a fundraising event, and they did a live read of Wet Hot American Summer, and they had for the most part everybody there from the films, some extra from the limited series that they had, The First Day of Class and 20 Years Later, and it was super, super cool. Again, there was maybe about 2,000 folks total in there, which is still a lot of people, but there's a certain charm about live reading and the production value of being in a Zoom call and trying to get the right people for a certain scene, just highlighting their video only. If it's Paul Rudd and Elizabeth Banks hanging out, there's somebody behind the scenes going, okay, get Paul, get Elizabeth, put them on the screen at the same time. Okay, now they're interacting. Oh shit! Michael Showalter, who plays Coop, his microphone's muted, so he's just talking, and he's not like like the universal, hey Mike, your mic's muted, that type of stuff.
That's that should be the catch line of 2020, by the way.
Yeah, it just that type of stuff is so fun, and as a matter of fact, I don't think anybody, or my brother-in-law's birthday is tomorrow, and we're going to do another one of these type live read events, but with for Superbad. So Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, who that kid's so funny. But another one of these things, and it just like you're hanging out with a family. They're in there. They're watching it. Chelsea's family is in California. We're here, but we're all experiencing it at the same time with the actors live. It's great, man. That's we don't have to have a conversation necessarily about it, but I just want to say, like,
no, I think it's really fascinating though that you talk about innovation, right? Innovation often comes out of necessity, right? You have a sprawling entertainment industry where they're making movies, they're making television shows that reaches, millions of viewers. But then there are the niche things that tend to only happen in New York or LA, right? Like, cuz that's where most of the entertainment industry exists. So, like, there might be a fundraiser that happens in LA where a bunch of people from a movie you really love get together at a comedy club on a Friday night to raise money for whatever charity. But you live in the Midwest, you live in Florida, wherever you live, you can't go to said thing, right? Now, because all of us are limited on where we can go and what we can do, you have to kind of come up with new ways to do that. And obviously with technology and Zoom sort of just slicing through our consciousness as a way of bringing people together, I think it's awesome that celebrities and different people that create this stuff that fans are so passionate about are using this as a way to expose people to things that they may not have ever had an opportunity to see before, and create those intimate sort of environments where, much like this podcast, much like the live stream that exists each Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time, on twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm, you can be part of it. You can feel like, hey, it's something I listen to, it's something I watch, it's something I enjoy, but then you feel that closer connection to it because you're there watching it happen. You can be part of the show to a degree, depending on the level of interaction that they allow. Depending on if they're doing the Rick and Morty one or not, and they just ignore the chat,
right.
they, you can really feel like the difference there.
Yeah. It really is super cool to see them fuck up and fuck up and also like fuck with each other and like make fun of each other sometimes. There was Michael Scott, not Michael Scott, not Michael Scott, Adam Scott. Thank you. So shit, not The Office, not the Dunder Mifflin. Adam Scott, who was in 20 Years Later. Him and Paul Rudd were at the same house. They were located in the same area, and Adam Scott was doing a scene with Alyssa Milano and Michael Ian Black from the 20 Years Later, and Paul Rudd just just puts his face in the camera barely as Adam Scott is talking, and then brings his face back out. And then Michael Ian Black is on the other screen, and he's in the same house with Joe Lou Truglio, that you might know from the what's that one comedy show other than The State, with Andy Samberg.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine. Fuck yeah, Brooklyn Nine. Joe Lou Truglio, and so at Michael Ian Black, and so Paul Rudd does the thing, and he disappears, and then on the other screen, Joe Lou Truglio sneaks into Michael Ian Black's scene, and he goes back, and then Paul Rudd goes, huh? Joe Lou Truglio goes, huh? And it's just like,
look at us. Look at us. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? It's so charming, and such a blast. So, anyways, I think that's great, and I just want to say shout out to everybody here who listens to us on whatever Apple Podcasts or wherever, or Twitch and YouTube. Thank you for being part of the crew.
Yes, absolutely.
As we end the podcast.
Well, we appreciate you guys hanging out. We appreciate you listening. If you are new to this show, we have been doing this show for years. You can catch old episodes on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher you enjoy. Thank you for checking us out. And if you want to leave a review, things like that, absolutely, by all means, do that. If you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe over there. You can also go watch old episodes of the video versions of the podcast if you want to check it out over there. And we are going to now end the episode and head over to our post show where we hang out with the folks that are watching live, answer some questions. So if you want to be part of that, make sure you tune in live. Otherwise, have a wonderful week. Stay safe out there, and we will see you next time. I'm Travis.
And I'm Brandon, and toodaloo to you.
Don't go away.
Don't go away. We're right here. We're not really actually going anywhere.
Somebody already left. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. It's a post show. This is for you. It's for you.
What's the matter for you?
What's the matter? Any other thoughts on topics covered in the podcast proper? Are you
talking to me?
Yeah, you.
Oh shit.
Jerk.
Yeah. It's fun talking about Thomas Lennon and then talking about the Wet Hot American Summer guys. They all started off in the state, and it was always interesting to me when Wet Hot American Summer came out. I was like, where's Thomas Lennon and Carrie Kenny Silver? Why aren't they in this movie? And that T Squeeze says he can't hear you.
Are you pulling my leg? What's going on? What's this game?
The whole episode wasn't able to hear you. Yeah, and it. So it turns out turned, and I think I recall reading this somewhere, that after the state had ended, they Ian Black, Kerry Kenny, Thomas Lennon went on to Comedy Central to do Viva Variety, and I guess Viva Variety was an idea that was on the state, and Thomas Lennon had to buy the idea from the troupe, the state troupe, in order to make that show for Comedy Central. But I guess that started a lot of heartburn with that original crew, and that's why he wasn't invited for Wet Hot American Summer. It, and he talked a little bit about that in that Zoom call, and I was like, oh yeah. He's like, so that's why I wasn't in Wet Hot American Summer, because I was the reason that there was so much bad blood. Who knows?
Well, how it goes. We didn't talk about Quibi dying. You want to talk about Quibi? Because we kind of called that one.
Do I ever want to talk about Quibi dying? Quibi died. That's it.
That's it. R.I.P. R.I.P. Quibi.
Look, it was a bad idea. It was a bad idea. And you brought up that Reno 911 had rebooted on it. It's just a shame. It's just a damned shame.
I wonder if Quibi will export all of its original content to other platforms because they're dying, or if they'll try to sell it off as just to leech whatever money they can out of there. Because there is some stuff that was on there that I wanted to watch, like Dan Harmon's fiance had an original series that was basically about her meeting Dan and stuff that I would have probably watched, but I'm not going to. What are you laughing about?
I was switching my camera back and forth.
Can't wait for the cold, frostbitten Canadian winter. It snowed overnight last night here in the Midwest. Right before the show, I switched the fan out for the heater in my office. So, yeah, you're gonna see Travis in a lot more sweatshirts in the upcoming episodes.
Hell yeah! You know what I think we should do briefly is talk about Scrum Principles, because I have a test on Wednesday.
Finally, I can't wait. So let's talk about about the iteration planning meeting, and
let's please. What are the inputs and the outputs of that meeting? Or we can talk about the Daily Stoic. We didn't talk about today's quote in the Daily Stoic.
I need to take the full class. You already know more than me.
No, Daily Stoic. Let's talk about the Daily Stoic.
Oh, that's
366 meditations on wisdom, perseverance, and the art of living.
Can I tell you what this book makes me think of?
Yeah, I want you to tell me what this
book makes me think of a Christian devotional that they just took all the Christianity out of it. And now it's just cool things that make you feel good.
Well, let's this one is for tomorrow. This is actually the entry for October 27th, which is tomorrow if you're watching live on Twitch. And it's a quick one sentence Stoic for us, Travis. Ladies and gentlemen, the Daily Stoic. This one is entitled, We Reap What We Sow. Begin quote. Crimes often return to their teacher. End quote. Seneca Theestus 3:11. And it goes on to describe a bit of this quote. It's ironic that Seneca would have one of his characters utter this line. As we know, for many years, Seneca served as the tutor and mentor to the Emperor Nero. There is a lot of evidence that Seneca was in fact a positive moral influence on the deranged young man. But even at the time, Seneca's contemporaries found it strange that a philosopher would serve as the right hand to such an evil person. They even used the Greek word tyrannodildo. Tyranna didaskalos. Tyrant teacher. It looks like Tyrannodildo.
Tyrannodildo. That's the episode title for the post show.
What? I mean, what? That talk about a terrible lizard, right? All right.
All
Like,
right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Daily Stoic.
Be able to segue back out of the boring Daily Stoic stuff with a Tyrannodildo.
Tyrannodon.
Yeah.
Welcome to Twitch, Sweet Tooth Designer Cakes.
I wonder who is that? Do we know who that is?
Yeah, that's Rachel.
I never heard of
500 schmeckles.
500, 600, 700 minutes.
That's definitely how that song goes. Stupid. Dumb. I don't know what else am I watching? What else am I doing?
Should I tell my story about the granola bar earlier?
Yeah, let's talk about your new eating habits. I don't know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Rachel. Oh, I didn't know that was you, Rachel. Oh, sweet tooth designer cakes. I thought that said sweet
To
sweet
the head sign ear cakes. By the way, those cookies that you sent us were outstanding.
Outstanding.
I just want to say it again. Well done.
Cheers! 3 cheers to you and Sweet Tooth Designer Cakes on Instagram and now Twitch.
I don't know what baddragon.com is, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I'm very hesitant. Hopefully, if
not a sponsor either way.
At worst, it's more furry stuff. At worst.
Worst case,
Mr. Hands. Maybe it's a website that spotlights Mr. Hands. And I know you probably don't know what that is, but undoubtedly some folks listening do. Okay, here's my granola bar story. Earlier today, I'm teleworking, and earlier today I got a craving to eat something, and I'm like, it's like 1:30 in the afternoon, 2 o'clock. I don't want to eat anything large because I'm gonna eat dinner in a couple hours because I'm an old person, so I eat early.
You gotta eat before the sun goes down, Brandon.
Exactly, because I gotta watch my weight. So I went into the pantry and I grabbed a granola bar. It was a double chocolate chip.
Double chocolate.
Double chocolate. And so I started eating it. And I took a big bite, and I swallowed the first bite. And I was like, oh, this tastes pretty good. I'm glad I grabbed this granola bar. And then I put the other half of it in my mouth, 3/4 of it. It was a big piece. Then I started chewing, and I had to go to the bathroom. And so then I was peeing, and I'm chewing this granola bar, and I continue chewing it, just savoring the flavor. And I'm like swallowing some juices, but I'm not swallowing the granola itself. I'm like, just chew. I'm like, this tastes really, really good. And then something in my head clicked, and I was like, but I don't really want to swallow it. I really don't want to actually swallow and digest the rest of this granola bar, because it's going to give me heartburn, one, but also, do I really need these calories? And so I'm just chewing as I'm peeing, chew, till it's masticated. It's
fully masticated.
It's fully masticated as I'm holding my my member as I'm peeing. And I'm like, you know what? I think I want to tell a story about this later. I think I'm going to just spit it out. And so I enjoyed the flavor of the granola bar, and then I spit it out into the toilet. And then I told you about it immediately.
Yeah, and then you immediately sent me messages telling me about how you just chewed up a granola bar and spit it out.
Yeah, and it was I started the conversation by just telling you I was very oddly compelled to do that. And it was just like, this tastes really good, but I really don't want to eat it. I don't want to digest it at all.
I want to talk about you being an old man getting heartburn from granola.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I get heartburn from drinking water. I've told you that before, haven't I?
Maybe. I don't know. We talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Let's go back to Apathetic Enthusiasm, episode 341.
Let's roll it back. In this episode, Brandon shares a very moving story about getting heartburn from water. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I eat all kinds of things, hot wings, you know. I mean, I eat spicy food, just not the most spicy food. But, you know, I get heartburn sometimes, but usually it's like at night when I'm like laying down. But typically I don't feel like I get a lot of heartburn.
You know, that's kind of crazy because I get heartburn probably more than I think I'm supposed to get heartburn. You know what I get heartburn from? I get heartburn from water.
What? From water? How does water give you heartburn? That's right. We did talk about that all the way back then. That's incredible. Wow. It's good to go back, and I'm glad that you have all of those clips perfectly cataloged and at the ready anytime we need to go back.
We never know
anything. Yeah.
We never know when we're going to need one of those clips. So I actually have what you don't see on the screen, what you see on my desk is I have a quick reference guide, like a kind of like a Rolodex of old scenes, old clips for us, all detailed, and all I have to do is press a letter. It'll go to a letter, and then that letter will take me to a list of categories. And then I press a category, and then it brings up a list of topics that we've talked about. Then I press a topic, and then it talks about like who started the topic. And then I press who started the topic, and then it'll bring me a list of categories. It goes in a big circle like that, but eventually I get to where I need to be. It's pretty quick. System. Well, I think we actually talked about that on episode 26.
Let's roll the tape. You know, Brandon, I mean, we've already done 25 of these episodes. This is our 26th episode. Like we're getting better at it. We've moved on from sharing one microphone. I mean, we're still here in the garage. It's hot, but I feel like as we continue, there's going to be times when we want to go back and revisit some of these topics and these things that we're talking about. And I feel like if we had a system for going back, I think it would be a lot easier for us to you know, as we move forward. Like, I mean, the Geek Aid guys are helping us out. They're doing really good things, but I feel like there's going to be a point where it's going to be hard to keep track of all this stuff.
Well, it's a very good idea. I already kind of planned for this. I have a couple trapper keepers that I have from high school that I haven't really gotten rid of yet. And what I've started doing, and I'm sorry I didn't tell you this because I should have included you because you have a lot of good input. But you know, every topic that we talk about, I write it down. I write a little note and I put a bullet point next to it, like an open bullet point. And then if we talk about it again, what I'll do is I'll fill that in and I'll make sure that that's known as a category. And then once I have the topics and the categories, I'll color code it. To whether it's like I started talking about it or you started talking about it, and in this way, like we're gonna just the database of topic. It's gonna be quick reference. It'll be so easy for us to get to talking about.
Yeah, but once you do so many of them, you're gonna need to have them on some sort of like Rolodex or something, just so that you can get to them easily, and it doesn't take too long to look one of those up. Because you never know, we could at some point in the future be, you know, talking to people live and have to pull something up right away, and we wouldn't even. I mean, I don't know. I'm spitballing. I mean, we're still. Who knows where this is gonna go?
Live, yeah. Okay, that'll be the day. it's so crazy how prescient we were back in those days.
We were always thinking forward, right? We were we started out small, but we were always looking to get bigger,
Yeah.
and now look at us with the 50 downloads that we get on a regular basis.
Yeah, we went down in downloads over the years. We didn't go up. We started off like really good, really strong. And this is a serious bit. We started off really strong, and then when we swapped hosts, we dropped a bunch of people, and that was probably our fault for not knowing how it all worked.
Yeah.
And then we just never really caught up with apathetic enthusiasm anyway.
Yeah.
But good thing we have shows like Nursery Crimes to really kind of carry us.
Exactly. Those are the shows that really bring home the bacon.
Yeah. Speaking of bacon,
You gonna
I
talk
think
about heartburn again?
no. I forget which episode it was that we talked about bacon like in depth, right? Because we did like this whole phase of apathetic enthusiasm where we talk about we talk about tech, we talk about movies, we talked about psychology and stuff like that. But we did like this whole expose on bacon. Do you remember us doing that?
That was forever. I don't think I even remember talking about that. Are you sure we did that?
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Oh. Ah, shit. Yeah. No, that was before we even recorded our first episode of this podcast. Like it was one of our kind of test runs for it. God,
Oh,
yeah, I'm
wow.
so misplaced. This will. That's right. I have a second Rolodex for bad ideas. Roll it.
Man, Brandon, I'm really glad that we could just hang out in my kitchen for a little while and just talk about anything and nothing all at once.
Yeah, that sounds good, Travis.
Did you want some of this bacon while I'm frying it up?
Oh man, you know what? The thing I like most about bacon, Travis, is that you're making it. You're my best friend.
I always knew I was your best friend, and I never let anyone come between me and you.
Look, the closest and fastest way to a best friend's heart is a good solid slab of bacon, and that's what you got for me, friend.
Hey, how do you like your bacon? The bacon first appeared on dining tables thousands of years ago in China. Pork curing methods spread throughout the Roman Empire, and the Anglo-Saxon peasants used to cook with bacon fat.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Until the 16th century, the Middle English term bacon, or bacon, referred to all pork in general.
Bacon? That's what I was going to name my firstborn child.
I am shocked, Brandon, that you keep all of that audio on the ready at all times.
I don't know why we didn't go in that direction, because you were so well informed about all types of cuisine. Like I used to sit there and listen to you around like our family barbecues, where you would go in depth about different styles of cooking. You talk about art of baking, the Great British Bake Off, with like you sent me a message not too long ago where you're like, these judges are great, but they're really missing a big piece of it, which is heart. They need to emphasize more heart, because heart is a part of baking just as much as the science of measuring ingredients.
Yeah, I'm sure I said that. I'm sure. Sire Dark asking who cashed in the bad improv redeem. These ones are free, man. We're just doing these for free.
These are free.
I want you guys to know that aside from maybe cutting in and out of it with pre-recorded music, there are definitely conversations that Brandon and I have that go the same way that never get filmed or recorded.
Yeah.
But just sprawl off on a topic and then become a bad improv session.
This is the stuff that we do on our own, and we crack ourselves up, and then we get on recording, and then we're not funny
Yeah, yeah.
at all. And you're like, oh, I guess I still like them, all right.
Yeah, they're trying. Keep working, guys.
Keep doing it. You guys are gonna be big in the 25 and under category, 25 listens or under category.
25 listeners around. If only that was a category.
D-Squeeze, yes, I did have my jaw wired shut that many years ago. The long story short of all of that is, before I got into the chewing granola and spitting it out game, I was like, the best way for me to lose weight is just to sew it shut. Just sew it shut. The reason my jaw isn't shut now is because I used like really, really thin string. Like I didn't use like even fishing string, right? I used what you get in like those like shitty sewing kits. You know the ones like the sewing kits that come with like the little buttons. Little buttons and like the scissors. There's like there are scissors in those kits, but those are the shittiest scissors. Have you ever tried cutting anything with those scissors? Like
they're very.
You open them up and then they bend. They bend so easily. How are you? Why you give me some bendy scissors?
You're only cutting thread, Brandon. You don't need.
They're so bendy. The string bends them. That's how bendy they are. It's like they made the scissors with string.
Yeah. I watched another season of Alone. You guys want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about Alone.
People went out in the woods and they didn't die, and then eventually somebody won $500,000.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I watched some more horror movies. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Which ones did you watch?
Okay. Joe Bob was on Friday night. A couple of movies that we watched. One was called Haunt, which came out in 2017, 2018, by the same writers who wrote A Quiet Place. And it was all right. There was one scene where no, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I was with it until a certain scene towards the end, and then my suspension was removed of that disbelief. And then another movie called Hack-O-Lantern, which my son and we're usually the ones that stay up all night. Well, he is actually stay up all night, watch the movie. I usually fall asleep in the middle of the second movie. Chelsea never stays up past the first movie, ever. She stayed up all night, watched both movies, and then rubbed it in our faces the next morning. Like, oh, look who stayed up for Hack-O-Lantern. And I bought Civ 6 on the Xbox, and I've been playing that with old size mode. And his family's coming back in town, so he won't play any more games ever again.
There you go. You'll have to let me know what game I should play, because I haven't played a video game, I think, at all in the last week. So, not true. I've been playing Golf Clash on my iPhone. Just finally got into a Golf Clash clan with the people the coworkers. So we're earning those coins and playing that golf. I become more like a Jerry every subsequent year. Vestlord raiding with 7 folks. Thank you, Vestlord. Thanks to everybody coming to hang out.
Yeah.
We're just chilling, doing our post show stuff.
We are just chillaxing. We're talking about Golf Clash.
Clash, the game that everybody's playing the AAA title Golf Clash, available on mobile.
Actually, what we're about to talk about is Sweet Tooth Designer Cakes out here on Twitch. She wants to quickly talk about how her husband Justin broke one of her plates. D Squeeze mentions Billy Butcherson, which is unrelated, I'm sure. But then he says, did it say it was unbreakable, so he tested it and it broke? She says it was a total accident, but he just dropped it. But with those plates are really, really expensive. Let's talk about those plates, Travis.
Let's talk about those plates. Okay, can we get a picture of the plate real quick?
Yeah.
We don't have the picture of the plate.
Put it on the screen. Okay. Because they're broken. What makes an expensive plate, Travis? Let's go ahead and explore that first and foremost.
Well, the first thing with an expensive plate is the materials, right? Because you can make a plate out of just about anything. You can make a plate out of Post-it note. You can make a plate out of a piece of wood.
Yep.
Sure. Obviously, your ceramics, your glasses, your finer materials, right? Look at this. Brandon has an improvised plate right there, and to his credit, the plate that he's holding, very difficult to break. A paper plate, it's nearly indestructible unless you tear it, or you get something wet on it, like food. But what makes a plate and not just a piece of material? I think that's really the bigger question.
What makes a plate a plate? It's beyond the material, right? That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Let's
the design. Well, there's a level of artistry in a plate.
Right. That reminds me of a study I read in the Journal of Plateology from Cambridge University, same college that Sasha Baron Cohen went to, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, star of Borat subsequent movie film, available now on Amazon Prime. Not a sponsor.
Go there using the code Platonomics. Yeah, so this study was done by, I believe his name was Thomas Richardson. And Thomas,
old Thomas.
First of all, I'd never known anybody named Thomas before. Really unique name. His parents were a couple of juggalos, which I don't know how juggalos transition from the States over to Europe, but they did. Must have different time. I digress.
They were confused about magnets, and so they went to study.
Right. Yes. That's right. You are a follower of Thomas's history.
Well, when in Rome.
That's where they lived. That's where they first moved. That's absolutely correct. God, yeah, that's crazy. Well, anyway, so the dinner plate theory, as Thomas likes to call it, states that sure, you have a material of a plate, say clay, say glass, say clay, say glass, say any other type of material, clay,
glass,
mud from a shallow riverbank. And you put it together. You kiln it. I think kiln is a verb now somehow. And you turn it into something that you could put food on. You could put maybe, depending on how deep the dish is, some soup.
Yeah, an assortment of cookies or other baked goods.
Yes, Santa cookies, as they call them in the South. But what really distinguishes them is the amount of pinnacles you put in them. The amount of pinnacles.
Speaking of pinnacles, it was an appetizer plate, Brandon. An appetizer plate.
It was an appetizer. Well, then how is that expensive? No, you're turning all of this on its head.
I have a picture in my mind of what an appetizer plate is. I don't know if it's accurate. I would assume it is a larger plate to hold a variety of appetizers or a large number of appetizers. Or it could be a very small plate for a single appetizer.
there's some comments that I want to go back to, but I have to ask this while you're looking at the comments.
He was eating a Hot Pocket, ladies and gentlemen.
He was eating a hot pocket on an appetizer plate. Okay, the only way it's an expensive appetizer plate is if it was made of solid gold. And if it was solid gold, that shit ain't gonna break when it hits the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Gold
And
is
even-
a soft metal, Brandon.
Yeah, it's not gonna shatter though. No. Unless it was tempered incorrectly. And if it was tempered incorrectly, then it shouldn't be expensive anyways.
And it's not really his fault. Yeah.
You got ripped off by the dinnerware Fiesta company.
Unless, well, what was the flavor of the Hot Pocket? Because there is a potential that the chemical composition of
Yeah.
the Hot Pocket, while microwaved in close proximity to the appetizer plate, could generate a chemical reaction and somehow jeopardize the structural integrity of the appetizer plate,
Yeah.
thus resulting in the subsequent fracture and ultimate demise of said appetizer plate.
Yeah, dude, fucking spot on. You know, if my Sizemore, right? He used to say like I can't get jugs of water from the store. I have to get my
I have to dig a well and get my own water.
I have to dig a well and get my own water. Yes, and he had to put that water in a specialized jug that he bought that didn't have any BPA's in it. We know the BPA's, right? Like BPA's will some chemical in cheap plastic that leaks into your drinking water and poisons you.
Yeah, it creates Cronenbergs. It's what happens.
It is what happens. Exactly right. And those same Cronenbergs are in different flavors of Hot Pocket. So if you have a cheddar cheese and broccoli, it has a different HPA count, a Hot Pocket anomaly count, than say the pepperoni Hot Pocket. Completely different number. And you know this, Travis.
No, absolutely. And the fact that we now know that this was probably a ham and cheese Hot Pocket, well, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Oh, it was a ham and cheese Hot Pocket.
Yeah.
They are renowned for the large amount of HPA's inside.
I will tell you that as a person that has consumed Hot Pockets, and though I feel I've moved past this phase of my life, I'm not above a Hot Pocket every now and again. I definitely had a Hot Pocket one day, a ham and cheese Hot Pocket no less, that I bit into, and a piece of scalding hot ham coated in gelatinous cheese hit my lip and created a noticeable burn mark for several days. Hot Pockets are not to be trifled with, and let this be a word of advice to all of you to be careful and look out for each other when consuming and preparing Hot Pockets.
Oh damn! A couple good questions out there. D Squeeze mentioning what was he doing with an appetizer plate this late in this hemisphere, localized specifically in your kitchen. Very, very good point. Everybody knows appetizer plates are not supposed to be used after 5 o'clock, especially in the northern hemisphere, localized around the eastern United States.
Well, now there is the offhand chance that they are hosting a dinner party. And the dinner party's focus is around us live streaming on Twitch and or YouTube Monday night. They brought a lot of people together, set up potentially a big screen TV, potentially a projector in order to show tonight's podcast, and presented a charcuterie board or other variety of foods that had appetizer plates there and available, and of course the ham and cheese Hot Pocket being a staple of that sort of a spread. Obviously, the mix up. It could have been anybody's fault.
It could have been. This is. There have been true crime podcasts that have been made for less. That's all I'm going to say about the mystery of the appetizer plate. there is another mystery of brewing here in the chat, and it's why Rachel's chat was deleted from by our automod.
Were you spamming something over and over again? Because it says 17 messages were deleted by the automod. So I am really curious.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, I'm really curious what you were saying, because
Oh my God,
you're just saying stuff over and over again, which
I will go back and I will say what she said. Let's see. Fiesta. Wait,
Fiesta forever.
Okay, D Squeeze said ceramic. Okay, curves. Anything is possible. God, no. Subsire. All right, I'm gonna go all the way back. She says it is Fiesta. Do you have any idea how much Fiesta ware is? The best curves. The plate was legendary and red. And then she says, but this was not a dinner plate. It was an appetizer plate. He was eating a Hot Pocket, but no, a smaller plate. Knowing Justin is probably ham and cheese, we got that. This is a big event here because we have about $650 in dinnerware, and we have 2 teenagers. But Justin was the first to break something. Ha 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 ha! Ooh, shruggy, woman symbol. And then she says, "Oh my God, what did I say? I don't know. Your message was deleted. Steamed ham cheese hot pocket. Oh my goodness, it said I had like 4 messages deleted. No, I did not, but I have no idea what I did. Superintendent Chalmers. These are all a bunch of different people. This."
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I'll look it up.
I'll tell you what. When I got married, we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna have cool dinnerware, and we're gonna have
about deleting messages."
Yeah, and then we deleted all the messages. No, we like registered for like this cool like 8 sets of plates and stuff. We're gonna have like parties. We're gonna have friends over, and we're all gonna eat on matching plates. And then fast forward to now, and I just stop by the store for 200 paper plates whenever we run out. And that's not great for the environment, but we go through a lot of dishes as it is. So yeah, not a lot of broken plates in this house. But I'm sorry to hear about your broken plate. Genuinely, yeah. I am sorry.
I have a lot of plates that I have just had just since marriage. But like any super expensive plates that I have were bought for us, and we've never taken them out of the box because we're like, okay, no one's paying attention that cares about me. They're all ugly. They're all like just ugly plates that I'm like, I'm not gonna eat off of this ugly thing. I'll get some flatware from Winn Dixie, and it's cheaper and it looks better and it's disposable. I'm not trying to break stuff. Besides, whenever they show up, then I can be like, oh look, we saved your it's expensive stuff. So that's it.
Yeah.
China. No, we're not talking about China.
I'm not talking about China.
Why would we be talking about China here? No, we're talking about plates.
Jeez.
We're talking about.
Jeez.
Plates.
Do you remember having I think it was a mug that was in your family that you got that had a price tag on the bottom of it that you guys never removed, and then someone brought that mug over to my house and it ended up getting washed in my dishwasher, and my wife removed the price tag, and it became like a thing where you guys were like, wait, why isn't the price tag on this cup anymore? And she was like, oh yeah, I took that off. But it was like a thing with you and your wife. Like, you and Chelsea didn't remove this price tag, and then my wife ruined it. Clearly it was not as big of a thing as I made it out to be. 'Cause I was like, I recall that moment.
We do stupid stuff like
mentioning China goes against community standards. I don't think that's the case.
I'm trying to find out exactly why she keeps getting blocked, because it doesn't make sense why she's getting blocked.
Yeah. In all fairness, Brandon set up our auto mod, so if you're getting blocked, it's 100% his fault.
I'm not auto mod experienced. I just know, look, just the easiest way to control the network is to just blacklist everything and just deny all, and then just allow by exception. So I'm just going to allow now Rachel in by exception once I figure out how she did. I think one of the things was like excessive symbols. Maybe she was using too many symbols.
Oh, too many symbols.
Rachel, just go ahead and spam the chat for a minute and see if we let you back in. Oh gosh. Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
You're really upset. She's so upset.
Let me.
Oh, it's time to charge my watch before bedtime, guys.
Who says that?
My Apple Watch says that.
Oh.
So there's, since the new update, they've added additional sleep functionality to the Apple Watch. So now I sleep with my Apple Watch on, but that means I have to charge it when I'm not sleeping, which it actually will tell you now because it knows when I usually schedule my bedtime to go charge my watch prior to that so that it is sufficiently charged prior to going to sleep.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Did
green eggs and ham?
You have AT&T.
Yes.
Did you? Are you getting your new iPhone 12? Are you
No.
doing it? Doing the trade-in?
No.
You're not.
No.
You're not doing the trade-in?
Tell me about the trade-in.
The trade-in is like you trade in an iPhone 8 and up, and then you get an iPhone 12 for free.
But what does it have to be already paid off?
I don't think so. I think it's just a trade-in, and you get the iPhone 12 for free.
Well, I should look into this then.
For 36, all it says is you have to sign up with AT&T for 36 months.
Oh, all right.
I would look into it because I have the 8 Plus.
I'm like, does it? Because I'm currently still paying on my iPhone 11.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man.
I don't want to keep having to pay that one.
Yeah, I would say at least look into it.
I don't know. I think what I might do is, yes, the iPhone 12, solid piece of machinery.
Free.
5G is great.
If it's free,
MagSafe looks awesome. But hear me out. Hear me out, Brandon. 2 devices, 1 year left, paying them off, and then they're paid off, but still relatively new devices. And I got kids. I got kids that need cell phones.
Different area. Oh wait, no, they're on the same.
And so when I go to get the iPhone 13 or 14, because they skip 13 for superstitious reasons, I can hand these iPhone 11s down to my next of kin, much like I did with my previous iPhone that my child is now using.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, or I'll just get my kid.
Can't be a rich Uncle Pennybags like you and just go squander away.
What are you talking about? No, it's free. It's free with AT&T.
It's never free, Brandon. And one thing I'll tell you is with cellular carriers, it's never free. You always pay. You always pay somehow. Remember that.
I do remember that because you talked about it on episode 12.
Pound of flesh. That's what I'm telling you. They're gonna take a pound of flesh. The FCC is gonna jack up regulations, and
they would never do that with the iPhone 4S. They would never do that.
I'm telling you, man. It's the same song and dance every single time. It's good time. We have fun on this show.
It's good times. We had fun. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, so for the iPhone 12, I'm like trading in my iPhone 8 Plus, and
which is a significant upgrade for sure.
Very much so. But it would be free for that 36 months, or that the trade in counts for like $800, and then so if you want to get the iPhone Pro, iPhone from 12 or whatever, like the levels above that, then that 800 still goes to that, and then you pay off the rest of your phone over that 3 years. So I went with the Pro, and so then I paid like 10 extra bucks. But I'm going to pay it off early because I'm not.
You realize that the plan that you just described, by telling AT&T that you're going to stay with them for the next 3 years and them giving you a iPhone 12 for free with trade-in, correct?
Yeah.
Is exactly the type of deal that they used to run in the mid 2000s, where they would, when cell phone providers were competing for your business, so they would lock you into a contract and give you a phone for free, even though they would just tie the cost of the phone into your bill for those 2 years, and you would ultimately pay for the phone just through, the 2-year contract that you're on, which they would then, force you to pay if you try to break your contract. You're essentially entering into a mid 2000s cell phone contract with what you're telling me.
What's the big deal with that? If I'm entering a mid 2000s cell phone contract, well, guess what? I've been with the same cell phone contract for 12 years.
Sure. So, yeah, which that's fine. That's fine. But what is the resale value of the phone that you're trading in?
Of the phone I'm trading in, the 8 Plus, it's
probably very little. Yeah.
Very, very, very little.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I get $800 credit for it, so I don't care. I need that Pro Max.
I'm hyped on the 12. I'm excited about it. I want to say I just probably won't get it.
I want to say goodbye to D Squeeze before he leaves.
Oh, bye D Squeeze. Thank you for being here. Yeah, always a pleasure, and thank you for always hosting us when you come in here.
Yeah, thank you. Well, now D Squeeze is gone. Like, I don't, we have Rachel, which is great. We have all the folks that old Vest Lord brought in. It'd be nice to just end this on a bang.
A bang.
Bang.
Bang. You talking about the hip new energy drink that all the cool kids are pushing on their TikToks?
Bang. Bang. Did I tell you about my jalapeno I ate?
I think I heard about how to harvest it. I might have caught that on the social internet.
Yeah, you gotta cut. I don't like those Bang energy drinks. Jalapeno. I don't want to talk about that.
I haven't had an energy drink in almost a year, I think.
Oh my gosh!
Right, unless you count black coffee.
No, that doesn't count. Bang is it's woo, it's something else. And we'll talk about that in length tonight. That's right. In 20 minutes, once I go to the 7-Eleven that's right across the street, I'll come back with a bang. Sure, I have to go to work at 6 a.m. Doesn't matter.
Back with a bang.
All night.
All right. So no more messing around. Next week, new interdimensional RSS. We are gonna have an episode of the Rick and Morty extravaganza. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably time to quit. I'm slurring words. But yeah, we gotta make a show. We gotta make it a good one. And it'll be the night before the presidential election. So who knows what can happen.
Oh God. Yeah, so we have to make it a good one. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. We'll do something special, and by special, I just mean that we'll do an interdimensional RSS episode.
Yeah,
normally, which is special for us because we haven't done it in so long.
Yeah, and we'll be blackout drunk when it happens. All right, guys. Thank you to everyone who is watching. If you are new here, hit that follow button. We do this every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's good to have you here. For those of you that have been following for a long time and have been hanging out, thank you guys for being amazing. Thank you guys for contributing to the post show, contributing to the show itself. You can hit up patreon.com/apathetic enthusiasm if you want to suggest a future topic or get access to behind the scenes pre-show content or exclusive podcasts like It's on Random and a bunch of other things that we do over there. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for being amazing. And until next time, I'm Travis.